So, but the hope, you think there's no hope because they control the media. They got it. But what shows me hope is what's happening with hemp and marijuana. The resurgence, taking a Schedule I drug, and making it legal.
In several states now, including Washington, D.C., which is crazy.
It's more and more and more. It's becoming legal. Yeah. So that shows that the federal government doesn't, they still Schedule it I. They didn't want this. But that shows that the people actually, ultimately, if the people all can get together, they do have all the power. The people do have the power because we still remember that from the Constitution. That's one thing we remember. I don't remember the fucking amendments and all that, but I know we have the power and you guys are supposed to be working for us. Right now it's not like that and it's fucked up, but we know we're supposed to have the power. And when we learn that and we learn how powerful we are, we took a Schedule I drug that was demonized, that was persecuted. It wasn't just left by itself. They went after the psyche of the nation on globally, really, not just nationally. That was real. That's not a conspiracy theory. The reefer madness propaganda, that's some evil shit. So when people tell me, oh, do you know there's parts of the government that do this? I don't need fucking evidence. You could tell me anything. I'm like, it's probably true. And if it's not true, who gives a fuck anyways? But I believe it. You're talking about criminals. Is it criminal activity? And does it seem like, oh, you can make money that way, whatever you're telling me? I see where the money comes from. If I don't see where the money comes from, I go, maybe it's bullshit. But if you could see how they can make money, I'm like, they probably do it. Because if you just thought of it, they probably thought of it too. They're running everything. So, but there's hope. There's hope. I'm like, shit, the people do have the fucking power. Fuck.
Well,
we can make a difference.
In a position, they're a position where they can lock people up, and they can intimidate people with the threat of locking people up. Yeah. Even for something as silly as marijuana, I mean, people will say, well, that's, it's not even an important point. It's not like, remember when Obama said there was some sort of a write-in on the internet, like what should they talk about? And I forget what speech he was giving, what town hall. What was the number one question? And he's like, the number one question was legalization of marijuana. And he was like, well, I don't know what that says about the people that are calling in. Ho, ho, ho. He jokes around about it like it's not a serious topic. But of course it's a serious topic because marijuana by itself, whether you like pot or don't like pot, it's not about that. It's about freedom. And it's a serious topic when you have a subject like marijuana, which all these people enjoy, and there's no reason why it should be illegal, and yet it's still illegal. That's not freedom. See, if marijuana made people's fucking brains melt and made your dick fall off and, made people just start running out into traffic, there would be a reason why someone would say, hey, we got to spend a lot of money to stop this because it's going to destroy our youth, ruin our children, and just devastate our society. Since that evidence doesn't exist, it doesn't make any sense. So if someone is still arresting people when there's no evidence that they should be, that's when shit gets scary. That's scary. That's a freedom issue because they're letting you know they could just lock you in a cage. We have a difference of opinion. I'm not even willing to look at scientific evidence. I don't care about scientific evidence. I care about what's written on this piece of paper. And this piece of paper says if you have a certain amount of these plants, I can put you in a cage and I can make money off of you being in that fucking cage. That is a freedom issue. It has nothing to do with marijuana itself. Now, you and I are obviously marijuana advocates, and we're marijuana enthusiasts, and we're known for having beliefs that marijuana is not just a fun thing, but it's a very important thing for creativity. It's like a turbocharger for creativity.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't get recognized for what it is because it's been demonized. So it's not about whether or not you should start doing it or other people should start having our opinions and changing your mind on it. It's about recognizing why we have these opinions in the first place, because they're not based on fact at all. These are 1930s propaganda ideas that were, at the time, fucking tsunamis, right? Tsunamis of information back when there was so few portals. They put a movie like Reefer Madness out.
Can you imagine?
William Randolph Hearst is the guy running the newspapers. He's got all these stories he's printing about Mexicans and black people raping white people. When those were the only fucking voices on the horizon, people freaked out about any kind of information like that. That was all that was available. It wasn't like that, and then you go online and Mike Tyson fucked a tiger? What? Dan Bilzerian
why do you suppose
lost $100 million playing poker?
Why do you suppose they went after marijuana in a demonic way?
Well, I think it was gone after in a very calculated way by a guy who went after a lot of things like that. William Randolph Hearst stand to profit from marijuana being illegal, remaining illegal. They named it marijuana. For people who don't even know, the name marijuana referred to a wild Mexican tobacco. and it had nothing to do with cannabis. Cannabis was hemp, and everybody knew that, and they knew that as a textile and as a commodity, it was extremely valuable for the American people. For people who don't know, there was actually a documentary that Jack Herer found, and it was a big deal that he found it because he had known about this and people denied its existence, and then he found this documentary, Hemp for Victory, and it was made during World War II after hemp was essentially made illegal, but they wanted hemp to use for sails. They used for canvas is all made with hemp. All the great paintings, like the Mona Lisa, that shit is painted on canvas, which comes from cannabis. I mean, it is a commonly used plant throughout human history. Thousands of years of use, all like intercepted by a propaganda campaign. This propaganda campaign by one guy and a bunch of other people that conspired with it as well, where there was two factions of it. One guy wanted
What did he do? Put out
profit.
movies? Like William Randolph Hearst put out movies?
He paid for that, but he also owned Hearst Publications. He owned the newspapers. So he printed these wild stories of white women getting raped.
By people smoking marijuana.
Well, he owned hundreds of, he owned not just newspaper, but he owned hundreds of thousands of acres of trees. And he used those trees and made paper out of them. He owned paper mills. If hemp became the new billion-dollar crop, as it was predicted on the cover of Popular Science magazine, if that happened, William Randolph Hearst he would have been fucked. He would have had to spend millions of dollars converting his newspapers to hemp paper. So he was like, fuck it. I'll just write evil shit about marijuana. I'll just call it marijuana. So it wasn't even about going after the drug. It was about going after what the fibers of the plant do.
That's a conspiracy theory right there.
It is.
And can you imagine, because
provable.
that was all during the 30s and 40s, can you imagine that there had to be some people that were thought of as some tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists that are saying that weed is actually doesn't make you do all these crazy things that they're putting in the movies and with all this reefer madness propaganda? Those people must have been, they looked so goddamn crazy back then.
Well, even today, people try to debunk this. People have said that to me, and they sent me to a website. Dude, that's been debunked. Sorry.
What was debunked?
That William Randolph Hearst had set up marijuana and worked with what was the guy's name?
Harry Anslinger.
Harry Anslinger. But it hasn't been debunked. Not only has it not been debunked, William Randolph Hearst was a notable cunt. Like, everybody knew he was a cunt. Orson Welles made a movie about what a cunt he was.
Who's protecting fucking William Randolph Hearst?
Well,
it's
the same mentality. It's the same mentality we were talking about
before. It's the same people. They believe 100% of the official stories.
Exactly.
It's those people, 100%.
Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone.
100%. I'm 100% for 100%.
The Lee Harvey Oswald one.
Whatever they say,
strange.
I'm going with it.
Yeah.
They would never lie.
Well, people, it's hard because some people automatically gravitate towards conspiracies. Some people automatically gravitate towards
when they're criminals,
towards the official story. Yeah. But I think a lot of times the reality somewhere in the middle, and it's hard to find the reality.
Depending on the conspiracy theory, you can't just say that about it.
That's true.
9/11, there's so much shit, and like I said, people think however crazy they think it is. Iran-Contra was just as crazy. Everyone thought they were crazy.
It's real.
And they got busted.
The William Randolph Hearst thing, here's why it really can't be totally debunked. First of all, we don't really know. We weren't there. So it's very difficult to prove, and it's very difficult to disprove. But one thing we do know, he definitely did print stories about this drug that everyone was terrified of.
Yeah,
he definitely did contribute to the making of reefer madness. I'm almost positive of that.
Do you have proof that he okayed that story?
Did you find out William Randolph Hearst had anything to do with the funding of the movie Reefer Madness?
We need a memo where he okays that story. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where he signed off on it.
But here's the other aspect of it that we didn't talk about. The timing of this is right after Prohibition ended. So Prohibition was a boon to law enforcement. They were constantly working. They were arresting people, locking people up, and then on top of that, organized crime emerges in a huge way. I mean, that's where Al Capone got all his money. That's where the Kennedys got their fucking money. Also, it's all from running booze, man. So there's all these people that are illegally running booze, and they're making crazy money, and they wind up in positions of power, and even wind up having their fucking children become president. Yep. That's the real story of the United States, is that Kennedy's fucking parents were drug runners. Yep. Their drug was just a liquid drug. It's just the same as running coke, just the same as growing weed right now today.
They're all criminals.
It's all...
And JFK and his brother, Robert, something turned them, and they decided they're going to try to save the world.
Maybe.
That's something turned them. They thought they could trust him because one thing's for sure, he was an extreme. He was like Bill Clinton when it came to girls.
Yeah.
They thought they had him in the bag. They thought he wouldn't. He'd totally just stay in line. and they had to get rid of him. Everybody.
So that's interesting. So they probably like have a guy like that. They get him in the office and go, listen, dude, we know you're a freak.
Just shut the fuck up. Just fuck as many as you want.
Yeah, we'll keep you protected, or you know, shit's gonna get ugly.
Sign a couple bills. Yeah. You know what I mean? Sign a little trade agreement, whatever.
What's the big deal? We're gonna invade
don't mess
the Congo.
with this side.
Yeah.
Just you could do a little trade agreement with Mexico and all that, but
it's very. Who knows? It's very intriguing when you start looking at possibilities like that.
Because he comes from a criminal family, so you know it's very obvious. They're all gangsters. They turn. They try to change the world.
Yeah. So
and then they had to get rid of him. It's just like you know,
so you got
gangster 101.
Yeah. So and then you got the gangsters who are the police officers who are arresting people for booze. Okay, because let's be honest, it's not the cops that are the gangsters, but the people that are telling the cops where to go for sure are gangsters. Why are they Why is it out in the first place? Like, who the fuck? Who says you can't have whiskey? What kind of bitches are we? We're supposed to be America. Someone's going to come along and say you can't have a drink? How about fuck you? That doesn't make any sense. You can't drink? So I'm supposed to just live my life by your fucking wacky rules? I like drinking. Drinking is fun.
It's so much fun. It should be illegal. It should be. I'd be all for making it illegal. It'd be cool to drink it like back in the 20s or 30s, whenever that was. Like
no, we'd have organized crime would be even bigger, man. That shit becomes dangerous. Look, I mean, Jack
Daniels.
Daniels.
Sell beers on the corner.
Here's a perfect example. Jack Daniels has been around forever, right? They sell whiskey, super popular everywhere. I drink Jack Daniels on a regular basis, right? That company's not evil. They're not killing anybody. Jack Daniels isn't fucking gunning people down the street. Jack Daniels isn't taking over new territories. Jack Daniels isn't fucking burrowing holes underneath prisons and digging people out.
The corporation that owns
would.
Yeah, but the corporation that owns Jack Daniels probably is.
I don't know if the corporation is even Jack Daniels itself. It might just be Jack Daniels Distillery.
No,
I don't know.
I think someone took that shit over. Come on.
Who cares? Who cares? My point is that Jack Daniels isn't an evil company. They can make money. If you can make money doing shit like that, then there's less of a criminal element to it. It's a safe company.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of bad shit that gets done by people who are drunk on Jack Daniels, for sure. But Jack Daniels, the company, is not like Al Capone. That's my point. It's like when you let companies sell things legally, you get the tax benefit from it, and the companies aren't filled with criminals. Because the only people that are willing to run heroin are going to be crazy fuckers like that guy from Breaking Bad. Yeah. That's going to be the people that are going to be running heroin. They're going to be out of their fucking mind. Those are the people that you're going to get. But if it was legal, you're going to get Bill Gates. You know? I mean, if it's legal, fucking how many rock stars have their own whiskey or tequila or some shit like that? There's a bunch of those guys. So rappers, they always have their own tequila or something. Yeah. Like, everybody's got their own shit. Like, it's okay. They're legal drug dealers. But as long as you're making money legally, paying taxes, the whole thing, it's above board. No one cares. It's like, it's proof positive that drugs should be legal. Because alcohol is one of the fucking worst. One of the worst for your body. Worse than cocaine. Most likely worse than heroin.
The traffic accidents.